That would be highly interesting if Trump played that Trump card. The question to Russia really is there a reasonable ground to believe that through diplomacy they can gain what they could otherwise also gain on the militarily, right? And if the answer is
Right.
yes, then the incentive would be like, yes, let's go the diplomatic route.
The problem, as always, and I think all negotiators and statesmen understand this, is at what cost?
Yes.
You can pretty much always accomplish what you want in politics. But the question is, will this be a Pyrrhic victory, a victory that, costs you more than what you obtained? Which is why I think there is one component to this negotiating process that is emerging, really. And one has to remember that there will be future phases of this negotiating process after the ceasefire and during the prolonged armistice negotiation. And that those are the role of sanctions. So if the United States actually promises and begins to dismantle its sanctions regime on Russia, of course, all other countries will follow suit. There's simply no point to having this leaky system of sanctions that we are currently, with great difficulty, trying to hold together against Russia and has been, in many respects, ineffective, with its major proponent withdrawing and saying, no, that's not the relationship we want to have with Russia anymore. We actually want a mutually beneficial commercial relationship. And if that goes, of course, the entire EU sanctions regime, no matter what the politicians say and try to do, will collapse as well. And so on that point, I would say it's very interesting that Trump can deliver. Trump can't deliver on the Ukrainians. He can't assure Russia that the Ukrainians will abide by the ceasefire, just as he can't assure the Ukrainians that Russia will abide by the ceasefire. But one thing he can deliver as an incentive to peace is to end the sanctions regime and really reverse course on the relationship with Russia, which will inevitably, like an enormous gravitational pull Europe into its wake as well.
That would be highly interesting if Trump played that Trump card.
It's been mentioned already so many times as part of the package, especially by Russia. It's been mentioned explicitly by Russia. So I'm sure it's one of the major carrots rather than sticks in this negotiating process.
But is Russia, in your view, like seriously very interested in a lifting of the sanctions? Because one of the things that the Russian economy proved over the last 3 years is that it not only didn't collapse, but it also expanded by 4%. I mean, at least in the last year. It's like the Russian economy surprised everybody, I think everybody, by just its resilience to
Yeah.
what happened. So do you think that even though the Russian economy can do well under these sanctions, there is still structural incentives for them wanting them to be lifted?
There is an emotional, philosophical argument against it, and it's made most articulately by people like Sergei Karaganov,
Hmm.
who argues that Russians, like everyone else, are weak. They want to make a buck. They want instant gratification, knowing that commercial enterprises, bankers, oligarchs will indeed pursue self-gratification. The sanctions that have been weathered have proven, as you say, Russia's resilience. Let's keep doing that. The counter argument is that, yes, we have succeeded and we have shown our resilience, but it is still better for Russia to have the flexibility regarding what types of enterprises and commercial transactions to engage in and which to avoid. So if that ability were returned to Russia, we would do a better job overall managing that, and we could police ourselves. I think Karaganov's argument is slightly insulting to Russians because they're saying, well, we couldn't possibly refrain from, pleasuring ourselves with all the things that the West has to offer, and we'll get into the same sort of dependency with them that we had before. But not just the last few years, all of the Putin presidency has been an effort to slowly, with fits and starts, to wane itself off of dependency on the West. And one of the reasons that the Russian economy did so well under the current sanctions regime was that those past policies had largely prepared the groundwork for it.
Step by step, basically preparing Russia for what was to
Right.
come.